Okay, everybody, we are right
Live.
at the beginning of the show tonight. You excited?
Hmm.
Yes.
I
Yes.
really am. I really am. This is
I
a
want to
little,
hear about these tiny houses.
yes, this is a little bit different than what we usually have on, but I think it is timely. I think it is right on point with the way things are going right now. Things are changing, and we just are looking to do things differently.
Yep.
Stuff is high, you know. I don't care where you go, I don't care what you're looking for. Things are expensive, and if we can find a way to cut down in any way, shape, or form,
Oh
that's
yeah.
kind of what we're looking to do. So, we don't always offer our listeners novels and children's
Right, right,
books
right.
and all of that. We diversify
We are
Yeah.
diversified.
well.
We diversify from authors up. I love that. I love it.
So we have some different things, and that's going to be it tonight. We
Okay.
Victoria, you've got her bio, right? So
Yep.
you're
I'm
all
all
set with
ready.
that. And we've got our weekend review coming up. You'll be first, Ruth. You will come in second, and
All
I
right.
will be third on the list for getting that done. And yeah, and then we'll go ahead
Okay.
and bring our author in, and we'll get started. I think people are going to really love what she's got to tell us tonight. We learned some new things just in the last 5 minutes, so
Exactly.
I'm excited.
Okay, all right. Well, I would love to roll the open, if that's okay.
Okay,
Roll up.
thanks, Alan.
All right, here we go. You have a great show.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, good evening, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being with us this evening. Hey there, Linda Cooks is with us here on Authors Up, and I see Nikayetta Williams is also with us this evening. Hey guys, thank you for being here. Look, if you have the chance, be sure to share this show. It's going to be a little different than what we usually do, and we're excited about it because we've got some great information that we're going to share with you this evening. So, how are you, Ruth Griffin and Victoria Henderson? How are you ladies doing
Hello.
tonight?
I am well. I'm well. And Victoria?
Likewise, I am fine. Doing fine as wine. Grape
Is
juice.
that why you rocking some apple glass before you came on? What in
No,
the
wine's
world?
good too. Wine's good
Hey,
too.
Paula. Oh,
Grape juice for those who are offended by wine.
Mm,
Paula is with us tonight. Hey, Paula, how are you? Glad to have you in the house. And let me explain. Let me explain so you won't think something terrible has happened. I've got some technical difficulties going on. So if I have to, go out and come back in, you guys do what you do and you do
of course.
fabulous. So I know all will be well, and I'll get back in here as soon as I can. But let's start like we usually do. Let's talk about our weekend review, and let's start with Rocking Queen Victoria.
I don't know why I do that sometimes. I don't
What
know.
you got
No, we
going
all have
on?
our
I
uh,
think, my chair is not as comfortable as I like it to be.
uh-huh.
And
Oh,
my back hurts, right? And that's just the truth. My back hurts. And so I try, I go back and forth, and I'll be readjusting so I don't know. Maybe I should think about shifting the space where I do the show. But I don't know. We'll see. But that's really why. I'm just
Maybe our guests can help you with that. So,
Yeah,
right.
that's true.
hey, hey.
Good one. Good one. Let me see. My weekend review was, I'm just gonna thank God for a calm week. It was a calm week. And usually stuff for me happens on the weekend. And I was so thrilled that yesterday there's the after school program that all of my children were in called Student U. And my youngest Zai graduated high school in January, but they didn't have the end of year program until yesterday for all the graduates, for those that
Hmm.
went in January and those that went are going to go in a couple of weeks. And it was called Decision Day, where they get to tell parents and the audience where they're going to go to college. And I was just so full of joy that this was the last one between Greg and us, our six kids, the last child we have gotten through high school. So I
Wow.
was, oh my gosh, just it's such a good feeling, And then Thursday was my oldest one's 25th birthday,
Wow.
and so this was a good week for time of reflection. I definitely have been thanking God for His goodness because when I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I've been blessed. I have a testimony, and like I said, I'm just joyful today, and
Good.
I'm just so peaceful, and just thanking God for His blessings that He brought us this far, and it hasn't been easy, but we made it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Good, good, good. Sounds like a good week.
Yes.
Sounds like a really good week. How
Absolutely.
about you, Miss Ruth? What was going on in the world of Griffin?
I love that. That sounds like a show.
Oh no, no, no. Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. But I have to say, so last week I shared that my youngest, my baby, graduated from college.
Yes.
So she came home on Monday to start putting her stuff in storage because she's leaving for the military
Right.
in a week and a half.
Yeah.
And thus far, I have been, excited for her, looking forward to it. Just, but, but once she went back home to her home,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think it hit me until then that she's truly doing this. So it was that moment. And I had it at work too. And I was sitting there going, oh my God, she's leaving. And it's a good thing. I'm not, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be sentimental for like a minute, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh,
go
and I was
see.
getting ready to ask, how are you dealing with it? I really was. I was gonna say, how are you dealing with this? Because y'all know me already. Y'all know. Y'all know.
No, there won't be any that. Everybody's been telling us, oh, when the kids go off, you'll be crying. No, we're good. We're really good. We're good for in the
Right.
past.
Right.
It was just, her decision was um it was thought out, but it wasn't shared until she did it. So it was like
Wow.
she had the time to say and think about this is what I want to do. But for us, it was like, oh, I'm going in the military. I'm leaving at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
you know, it's taken some time, and again, very proud of her. I know she's going to do great. She's going to do great things. It's just that moment where
You got to
I'm mom and
process.
I'm like, oh my goodness, she's leaving. So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Welcome, Jamaica.
Yes.
Glad to have
Welcome.
time with
Welcome.
us tonight. Thank you for coming in.
Hmm.
I
Well,
don't
how was
have
your week?
I didn't have anybody graduating. I didn't have anybody going to the military. I didn't have any of that. Nothing. Nothing even close
Nothing.
to but I've told you all before, between now and June 10th, that's all you're going to get from me is June 10th. Just busy preparing, still getting the final touches on things and finalize it. Hey, the
Ooh,
Bahamas is
the
with us.
Bahamas in the house.
Good evening. Good evening. I finished nailing down things with the caterer and with the
Hmm.
DJ, so all of that is in place. I'm working with Studio Griffin in getting the uh, video together that I want to share that day. So a lot of the week was taken up with that. But yesterday or Friday, I went down to South Carolina to visit my squeeze toys.
Oh,
Oh,
good. These are
Twins.
little
I
Jedi
went
babies.
twins. So for you all who don't know, I have twin girls who are my goddaughters. And they'll be turning 9 this year.
what?
Yeah, they'll be turning 9. I can't even believe it. One day I'm going to be saying my squeeze toys are going in the army,
How'd
but
you call them a
not
squeeze
yet.
toys?
When they were born and when they were tiny, I really couldn't tell them apart. I look at their pictures now and I think, why not? They really don't look that much alike, but they were just so tiny, and I was just able to hold them. And you
Yeah.
all may or may not know, but my goal in life is to be a rocker. And
Oh,
Oh.
I really just want to cuddle the babies and rock the babies back and forth. So there were these two little bundles of joy, and they are just interesting. They are full of life, and it
Oh.
was uh, we went on a shopping trip. So
oh,
they I, don't- I took them and let them pick out their outfits.
oh.
That
Oh.
was an experience.
They're 9. Yes, it
I was
was.
with their mom and their aunt and their grandma, and they were picking things up, and I was like, "She's not going to wear that, is she?"
Okay.
Clearly, there's another choice over there. Let's go look at some more stuff. So it was fun. It was fun, and
Well,
and they,
glad.
they
Glad you
enjoyed it.
had that experience.
They had a good time, and then we came back and ate up everything in the house and had a little indoor picnic, and then they went out.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah, I don't get to do that too often. So I was really, really happy to be able to do that and enjoy
That's
them
awesome.
and enjoy them. So, but tonight we've got a special guest, and she has some wonderful information for us. And one thing I want to say before we get started, because we talked about this in the beginning before everybody came on, why this author, why this book, and we are just at a time and a season where everybody is looking to change some things, to adjust to the economy, to see, what can I do better? How can I save money? How can I make some extra money? How can I do any of this? And writing and all of that is not just novels and short stories and children's
Mhm.
books and things like that.
Right.
Every now and then we get a great individual who has written some wonderful things to help us with life, and this is one of those times. So I'm going to let Victoria read you just bits and pieces of her bio, and then take you into meeting our guests for the night. So you can go ahead, Victoria.
All right. This is just a few notes from our guest's bio. Samantha Jane Creech, who was born and raised in sunny California, is a furniture creative, entrepreneur, mom, and spirited traveler with a drive to cultivate less waste and more green living through the art of home restoration. Inspired by simple pleasures, small spaces, and the charm that's found within each of those, Samantha says her passion is rooted in transforming tiny houses into bold homes, creating spaces that are economical, eco conscious, and individualized. She follows a simple but valuable philosophy: by restoring your space, you revitalize your soul. Love that.
Yep.
Samantha incorporates her perspective, experience, and passion into helping people downsize their homes and upgrade their lives both emotionally and financially. That's a we gotta talk about that one. Sit tight now. Sit tight for just a few seconds. We're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we'll introduce you to our guest for the evening, Samantha Jane Creech.
All right.
Oh my
Uh,
Awesome.
that was abrupt.
God. Right?
I was still listening.
Like, get
Okay,
on
well,
with it.
welcome, Jane. We are so Samantha Jane. We are so glad to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me.
Welcome.
Of course, of course. So I have to say, and I said it earlier. I will tell the world I am not a crafty person. I'm an artist, but I don't do crafts. But I love DIY. I love HGTV. I love shows like that. And when your book came across our desk, I was like, "Oh, we got to talk to her because this is just too much fun." So tell us a little bit about your book.
You're making me blush.
Oh,
And- but I will tell you about my book. Yes.
okay.
But yes, I am just overjoyed to even be speaking with you
Oh,
all.
Oh,
It touches my heart. That's how I
Wow.
say.
don't start now. Don't start. Okay, but
So my book is called Restoration and Refinishing for Profit or Home Improvement, a
mhm,
profitable home-based business plan from a 30-year vintage furniture flipping professional. And so this book is my life.
mhm.
That I have restored furniture and ran a business ever since I can remember, all the way from growing up with my grandmother
Mhm.
who came to California during the Dust Bowl. And
Wow.
she's the one who taught me how to sew. Yes.
Wow.
And then my mother was more of a wood metal type of person.
Really?
So I had these different aspects, right?
Mm-hmm.
And back then it was more word of mouth.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
So now I have the opportunity to put this on paper or, digital paper and help people. I think of it as helping people and telling them exactly how I do what I've done for 30 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Awesome. That's
Okay. So I was going to ask you how you got started on your business, but you're good there. How do you so, obviously this is your life. This is, what you've done. How do you transition from, let's talk about your book for a second. How do you transition from flipping furniture to, tiny homes, all of that to now I want to write a book. I want to put it all in writing. How do you get to that space?
Education. I
Okay.
must say, my mom says the key to everything is an education.
Mhm.
And then my grandma said the key to everything is the Bible,
wow.
right?
wow. Two good
Good
keys.
advice.
That's what my grandma left me when she passed. She left
Mhm.
everyone in the family a Bible.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
All
Wow.
the answers are there, she said.
Mm.
That's good advice.
And then my mom, she said, you need to be educated, Samantha. So, it's one thing to work hard with your hands, it's another to dig deep and actually educate yourself so that you can use your voice, right? You can use words to actually reach people and speak to them. That
Mhm.
I had to educate myself on that, the proper way to speak after so many years in the military.
Mhm.
So I'm a very direct person. And with writing, I was able to have time to really think about my message and how I could reach each individual. So, yes, it was by education that I finally
Okay.
got to this step.
Okay.
That's
That's
awesome.
awesome. That
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to write the book?
The book is rewritten
Uh-huh.
often and updated. So it is a work in progress. As I change, the book changes so that no one is ever reading this old version, right? I want everybody to have the current version. It did take me about 6 months to write
Okay.
the first version, very first.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. And I will say that's good because I do, oftentimes, when you're not on the University of YouTube, you try to find a book, and the worst thing is to find something that's dated, that it worked, hey, in 1996, but may not work today. So, and I have to
Right.
say that, even I was kind of a jack of all trades before I finally went to art school got it clear. So some of the jobs that I've had included, some of the tips that you've included in the book, where you can get discounted or free paint, where you can get furniture, it's just, I felt that, again, if I, for whatever reason, decided I was going to start flipping furniture, I think that your book would provide a great place to start there because of the information that you've included. So, how did you decide what to include in your book?
I sat down and I wrote everything out, right? From the
Mhm.
way my morning starts to the end. But
Okay.
then I also thought, how would my children respond to this? My sons, right? I wanted it to be accessible for
Mhm.
all ages, all education levels. So I sat there and I was like, I'm not going to hold anything back. Everything, right? The free paint, the free
Mhm.
furniture, how you can market for free.
Mhm.
And if you're someone like me, how you can learn about people to, get your message out there. That is part of it,
Yeah.
right? If a tree falls in a forest and no one hears it, did it
Right.
ever fall?
Mhm.
That really was what it was, about. That I sat there and I go, okay, you know what? Someone might never know me. I may never be famous or great, but I could help someone who
Right.
does become great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was what it really was. I was like, they have to know everything.
It's
Don't leave anything out, right?
it's great. That
That
is
is
great.
great.
Yeah.
So, one thing I do want to point out, because this has become, my passion recently, is repurposing. Um, I just feel like, we sometimes we live in a bubble and we think, oh, I need disposable, I need, I'll just go get something new. Oh, I'll go, get individual packaging, and you talk about, even being more green, more, and honestly, when my kids left the house, I told them, I'm like, go find yourself a Goodwill because you're going to find a lot of good stuff there. You
Right.
don't have to go get brand new furniture. You can find something new. You can repurpose. So, talk about your passion for that, and how it played into your book.
So as I said, I was in the military
Hmm.
for quite a while. I traveled the world, and you were not paid a lot in the military. At least not back in when I was in the military. I may look young, ladies, but I am not. Right? Moisturizer.
Yeah, that's right.
So so I was like, I kept seeing people every time they PCS. So that means every time they went to a new station, a
Hmm.
duty station, they would leave all these things behind.
Mm.
Okay. And I didn't understand because I came from a family, a grandmother, who raised me that you need to be grateful every day.
Mhm.
And you see this right here? Do you see this flour sack? Okay, well, this can be, a dress. This
Mm.
can be a pair of men's boxers. Everything had a purpose and it could be reused, right? It's just like us.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
all I
right.
could keep thinking in my head was, these things are beautiful. Yes, they might have a hole, or maybe a cat scratched them, and they
Mhm.
just leave them behind because you're given money when you PCS, right?
Okay.
When you move, just like with any company, right?
Mhm.
And they just kept leaving it behind. And I was like, no, I can do this. I can save this. And a lot of times it was, I would see a new family that came into base and they had nothing.
Yeah.
They were new to the military. They might have a little baby. And so there would be a circle area. My first duty station was Schofield Barracks, Hawaii.
Mhm.
And I know Hawaii, right? You guys so
Yeah.
glamorous. No, no, it was not. But there would be circles, right? Like a roundabout.
Right.
But inside of our actual housing, each housing development would be a roundabout. And that is where you would take everything that you
Mhm.
didn't want.
Hmm.
There was not trash, right? Not
Right.
compostable, right?
Right.
That was physical
Mhm.
things someone else may be able to use, and you would place it there, and eventually once a week the big truck would come and move all of this, right? Because they were large items, just like we have in the city. Yes, where they'll pick up
Right.
large pieces maybe
Yeah.
once a month. Same thing. So I would see those things, and I would see these people struggling, and I would sometimes, I'd get a couch, I'd pull it myself, right? I'd pull it home, and I may have to embroider where a cat had scratched the whole arm to fix it. Um, and then I would just walk over because, back then it wasn't really cell phones and all of that. I would just walk over to my neighbor that I saw struggling and, what do you think? I would try to pay attention, right?
Right.
To
Right.
maybe the color dresses she wore, or maybe what the children wore, or just things like that. Not being nosy, just trying to be observant. And, I'd say, I redid this. I'd have it outside, of like on my porch. I redid this. Would you like to have it?
Mhm.
And people didn't usually understand the generosity. Um,
Right.
and I have learned to speak to people better. But in that time, I was, right out of boot camp, right out of AIT. I was on it. I was
Right.
direct, and sometimes I, just had to convince them that, I
You
just
did.
had free time.
Right.
I
Right.
had free time, and I don't have a use for this. Would you like it? Can you take it for me?
Mhm.
Making it their idea,
Right.
and I guess I always felt like, what would my grandma say? What would my
Mhm.
mom say? Or my dad? My dad's a contractor. What is that feeling? And, how can I help this person secretly because it's helping me, right? And so that's how it came about, is that at first, I kept thinking back to my grandma. Okay, Sam, my nickname Sam. Uh, we're going to, she had the same couch for 50 years. It was
Mhm.
made out of wood, but every season she recovered it
Mhm.
and made her new drapes. So I always would think that to myself, okay, maybe I could do this way. I could make this new family some drapes,
Oh,
or someone might throw some clothes away, and I could make a little dress, or just very simple things to help people. But
yeah.
I felt that there was still life in them, just like us, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes we feel like we have nothing left,
Right.
and sometimes people see it in us that we can't see. And that's when I restore something or revitalize it, it's really revitalizing it. It's saying, you know what, I'm giving you hope. We both have hope together.
That
So
is
for me, it's
great.
hope.
I love it. I love it.
That's great. It is. I wasn't expecting that. That is beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hand you over to Andrea, and she's going to pick up the questions from here.
Guess what? I want to talk about tiny houses. I have become a fan of Tiny House Nation, and all of the shows that are on about tiny house and tiny house living. So when I saw in your bio what you were talking about, your tiny house on wheels, and I just, how did you, what are you doing in terms of tiny house living? And how did that even get started for you? How challenging was it? I have so many questions about the tiny house situation.
Well,
So talk to me
I
about
am here
tiny
for all of
house.
them.
What got you really started in that, and where are you in that process? What is your tiny house looking like?
I Well, that's a great question. So I could live out of a backpack, right? Even as a female in the military, even till this day, you give me a backpack, that's all I need. I don't even know if I need that. If I have enough pockets.
Wow.
um, but I I wanted to be close to my children, to my sons. I wanted that there was no walls to separate us. Nothing.
Mhm.
It was just us. We were, and my children are boys. I can't say, they'll always be my babies, right? But one's already in college.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I just, even if it wasn't speaking to them, just being near them, right? Just sharing that's why I was motivated. So, my dad being a contractor, um, I actually thought to myself first, okay, I'm going to build one, right? From scratch. Start with the trailer.
Mhm.
So, soon as you think tiny house, you have to think codes. Yes, building codes. I'm going to be practical here with all of you. And I live in California, but I did live in every place in the world, even Europe. So there's codes,
Mm.
right? Yes, I lived in Germany, and
Mhm.
they're all about the small space.
Mm.
So that I kept that in the back of my mind. I'm like, okay, I can do this. But then I was like, oh, I don't, the codes in California are ridiculous. The building codes for a home that is on a cement slab, right? That is
Yeah.
stationary.
Mhm.
And I go, okay, maybe I'll do the trailer thing. And then I was like, I don't know because of all the moving, right? It's
Mhm.
not the same, right? Now we're dealing with a force. Yes, just
Mm.
like in our lives. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to leave that to the experts, right? That's what I told my dad. I go, Dad, what do you think? Because your dad knows everything. My dad knows everything. So does my mom, and so does my grandma. Bless her heart, she's passed away, but yes, they know everything. So I was like, okay. He's like, Sam, here's what I would do. I would get an RV, and then because it's already built to the standard, the RV codes, right? It's already registered with the state. I would go in and I would redo it to my standards, to my life. And
Mm.
that's what I did with the first one. I am on my third one. And I also obviously do this for other individuals, but personally, I own three.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
that's how it happens. Yes, a big combination of everyone. That's
Wow.
how we did it. And then the creation process was I am in love with antiques, and there's things I can't part with,
Wow.
things that mean something to me,
Mhm.
not financially, right? It's not financial that they mean something. It's just an antique bed, that maybe was my grandmother's.
Right.
And
Right.
I want it there because I know she was there, it was
Mhm.
part of her life.
Right.
And it just has that feeling, that energy, right?
Mhm.
And I had to have it with me. And so my first tiny, which my company is named after, Picturely Petite, that is what happens. There's actually antiques, pieces of my own furniture that have been placed and repurposed all inside.
Wow.
Um, and
Wow.
then, yes, it is one of a kind. It really is.
How old were your boys when you started your first one?
The They were my 11-year-old. So that was 3 years ago. Yes.
Okay.
So my youngest was 6, 3 years
Wow.
ago. And then I started learning. Well, I already knew digital design, but um, I designed all the wallpaper murals. So
Really?
every wall um, is covered in a mural, and the inside of my original tiny is the story of my life.
Wow.
Whoa, that is just amazing.
Is that on the YouTube channel? Because I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. And also on my website, you can see pictures of every inch. Yes,
Oh
of
my,
my original tiny. Yes.
that is amazing. That is amazing, and I want to get to that. I wasn't able to get to it earlier, but I'm going to get on that site because I really want to see all of this, and just very interested in how you started. For you, it was like starting at the bottom up, and for a lot of people it is starting, at the top down, in terms of downsizing and doing things to get into the tiny space. But yours was kind of just the opposite. But what a wonderful story in getting started with all that. I think that is amazing. I look around, and I know I look at those programs and I think I would love to try a tiny house, but I can't organize my closet. So I think tiny living
I
is
know that's
is
right.
way off for me. But I think it is a fabulous idea, and I want to really look at your site and look more into
Mm.
that. But you
That is
also
kind of you.
I know that Victoria had not some information, but she was really interested in some of the things that you talked about where marketing was concerned. So I'm going to switch you over to her, and I've got to get some things straightened out. I will be right back, guys.
Okay.
Actually, I've shifted my questioning a little bit because I must tell you, you are the epitome of what our show is about. Because we always say, everybody has their own story and could tell it in their own voice. And just reading your book and now having you on the show and listening to you talk, you have given voice to the book. So it's just and you shared your heart, and you can't get that just by reading the book. Just talking to you here, you shared your heart and your compassion for people, and I so appreciate that. And I really wish that you were closer.
Well,
When it was
I
reading
do
your bio,
know.
why I say that is because it was reading your bio. My girls tell me that I am a hoarder. Okay, and I'm trying to get rid of some clothes, right? And I'm not very good at organizing. And I would love to have a person like you come in and tell me. But they always tell me, "Mommy, don't order anything new because you got enough clothes. You have a 365 closet. If you get rid of some of the stuff." And so I have 3 bags of clothes that I have getting rid of, and it's emotional. So when I read that part in your bio, could you speak to that? If you work with somebody who has those emotional ties to their things, how do you help them with that?
I guess I have seen it in some shows, but I must say, um, I think the shows do not meet my standards. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so here's the thing about all your things, right?
Right.
I would say the slogan of my business is that I build tiny houses for people who cannot part with their things. That
Okay.
is what I do.
Okay.
But we would, it's a process.
Yeah.
I would say, okay, here we go. Um, right? We would have our stuff, and
Yeah.
I'd say, okay, why do you love this?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because it's a why, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you would say, well, I paid $250 for that blouse, Sam.
Which I don't, but that's okay.
Well,
I get you. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I'd say, okay, so it doesn't fit anymore.
Right.
How about you let me resell that for you, on the real, right? Or Poshmark. I would give you options. And
Okay.
then you'd
Okay.
say, you know what? I have to have this in my wardrobe. It doesn't fit, but and I'd go, okay, if it's a necessity, if it's a staple, let me resize it for you.
Okay.
And we'd put it in that pile, right? Because
Okay.
it's not the point to sacrifice, is that actually you're gaining. You have to
Okay.
keep it in your mind. You know what? This is all about me. This is making my life better,
Right.
making my mental state better because I'm getting rid of the clutter. So
Right.
then we deal with it that way. But if you're like, I just have it because I wore this at my son's graduation.
Okay.
And when I see it, I think of those pictures with him being next to him or her, right?
Right.
And it's that feeling and that emotion. And honestly, everything is made of energy. Honestly,
Okay.
it is what it is, right?
Right.
It's
Right.
just not in a woo woo California way.
I got what you mean. I got what you mean.
So then we'd have that pile. We'd have the pile that it's emotional. So
Mm.
I'm like, okay, we're not going to wear it. You're telling me, no, Sam, that was 10 years ago. That's a no go. And I'm like, wait 10 years, girl. It comes back every 20,
But
right?
it might be time to let that go, right? You know.
I would say, okay, we have that pile. Yes. So, okay, I got this. And then there's some that you're just like, I love this and we're going to keep it. And I go, okay.
Okay. Okay.
Then we will find a way to store it, but we have to store it in a way that you can use it every day. If it's a hassle to get to it, you're not going to use it.
Right. Right. I love that.
And that's how we go about it. And then the pile, obviously, I can sew. Or if you have a seamstress, I'd be like, okay, you can let them do it if you don't trust my work. But then I'd go, okay, then this pile that is emotional,
Mm-hmm.
where do you want to see it? Where I'm going to give you these options like, okay, well, I can make you a shower curtain. I can make you a lampshade. I can make you a pillow. How about a rug? How about a blanket?
Yeah.
Anything you're telling me, I'm like, okay. And then I'm looking around. What does she love? What do I see tons of? Some people are all about the pillows.
Right.
Some
Right.
people
Right.
are, everyone has their thing.
Yeah.
You start to notice. And the thing is my job is not to talk. My job is to listen
Yeah.
Wow.
because it's about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a tiny house, right? Well, I have 3, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I
Yes.
do. I don't think I could live in a tiny house, but I do know I need to find a way to eliminate some of the clutter because it's really driving me crazy, and working on my own emotional self to walk into the clutter all the time of things I just can't seem to part with, and
And
it,
that's what you have to do. That,
yeah,
you don't need an expert for that. You are
right.
the expert on you,
I
right?
Mhm.
love
No
that.
one,
Yes, yes. Say it again for those in the back.
you are your expert on you, right? No
Yeah,
one else knows you like you, right? Well,
right,
maybe God, but
right, right.
but yes, just empower yourself
Right.
and make these piles. How are you any different than me? And then say,
Mhm.
okay, you know what? I'd love to see this every day on my bed with all my throw pillows. Okay, I can do this, right? Why not? Heck, you don't even need to know how to sew anymore. There's glue, there's Velcro,
How about that?
right?
There's command strips.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Well, what is, and I thought about this as I was going through the book. Do you have a favorite piece or pieces? Is a favorite piece that you've done, and it's like your personal favorite that, and you is it in your house? Well, let's say in your house. Do you have a favorite piece that you've done, and why?
So it's been almost a year that I
Mhm.
have moved into an actual house. Okay.
Mhm.
It is a cottage, an actual cottage from the 1920s.
Wow.
And yes, it was owned by one family
Oh, okay.
um,
Wow.
until until us. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And that's the young lady sold the home because she didn't have any children to pass it on to.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
And she was in the movie industry. So she was creative. She was an artist.
Yeah,
And
okay.
maybe she saw that because we gave, I'm like, here, this is me. Can I, you know, I'm just like, oh, can I have this? Like I could feel it. And so then I would say my favorite thing so far is that we put up a fence in the front yard so that we
Mhm.
could use the space, but it's not any fence. Okay. Are you ready for this? It is a trellis. This is a European concept of an
Yes.
edible fence. So, you know how you've seen trees in the English countryside that are woven into trellises
Yes.
along their fences.
Yes.
So that is my fence, actually. It is full of fruit trees that I bought from actual clippings. They were not brand new trees grown just for me. I'm always looking to, I guess, repurpose, right? Give a new
That's
life.
right.
And so in my city, like a lot of cities, people are struggling.
Mhm.
And I see homeless people, and I thought to myself, I want to be able to help someone without saying a word.
Right.
And I saw it in big cities in Europe. They planted edible fences, or edible barriers. Yes. And that's what I did. I wove all these fruit trees in. And then inside, I actually have my shrubs are blueberry bushes.
Oh,
And so edible, right? So I keep training them towards the fence. So we have levels, right?
Mhm.
Just
okay.
like art, right? We're building. And then while the trees have been growing, in October, this past October, I planted sweet peas. I don't,
Oh,
I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're an old type of flower, right?
Okay.
Um, so they grow very fast and they're very
okay.
aggressive, but they only grow for a short period of time. And that's what I needed. I needed something to give protection while my trees went through the winter and had protection to grow and to shine, right?
Uh-huh.
And to fill in the
So
fence.
beautiful.
Yes. So now they're towards the end of their life cycle. So I
Mhm.
am letting, they will be taken down to dry. But once it was about January, I went through and actually planted peas, right? Just regular climbing peas to eat, and
Yeah.
also beans. So now they have grown up enough that when I take the sweet peas down, they will have added that filler and that cover, and also a new food source for right now during the spring
Yeah.
until the fruit is producing for
Mhm.
everyone. Yes.
Yeah. All
Oh,
right now. All
wow.
right. Well, could you tell our listeners and our viewers where they can find their book and about your website, and then how they can get in touch with you if they would like to?
Okay. You can find my books. I actually have two.
Oh,
You,
okay.
there's a companion book. So the first book, the one that is on your screen, the screensaver,
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
the marketing, is my first book. It's how to walk the walk, right? And then the next one is how to talk the talk, and how
Okay.
to
Okay.
be mentally there, thinking the way a designer would, right? But you can find everything on my website,
Mhm.
picturelypetite.com. You can
Okay.
find my books on my website, but also on Amazon.
Okay.
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 Um, Also, you can find me on TikTok. Uh,
Great. 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 Great.
so Picturely Petite. You can find me on YouTube, um, at Samantha Creech. You can find me on Facebook,
All right.
Samantha Jane Creech. I'm on Pinterest.
Oh,
Yes.
that should be
Yes. When you see a couple of new people, just know who it is.
Yes, I'm everywhere, so
Okay.
Okay.
that whatever is your type of thing,
Mhm.
I'm there wherever you're at. Okay?
Okay.
That is
I'm
awesome.
there, but I'm quietly there.
Okay.
You sound like you're nothing but quiet. I have a friend who I love to watch. She does what you suggest in the book. Go to the yard sales, find these beautiful older pieces, and when she finishes, I'm just amazed. I'm still drawing stick people, so I I cannot do it. But you make it sound so easy and not unattainable, to do. So
Good.
I thank you. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Just believe in yourself. That's it, right?
Mhm.
Everyone else has we underestimate ourselves. Just
Yes, we do.
what's the worst going to happen? You have to repaint it? I mean, and use some wood putty or some Velcro? What? It's not a big deal.
Well, Well, I was going to first of all, I was sitting back listening to what was going on, but I wanted to pop in when you started talking about edible. I heard the word. I thought I don't want to miss that part. But just wonderful, wonderful information, Samantha. I wouldn't ordinarily we would ask, what are some words that you would give to our listeners, but I think you just gave it to us. That we you can try new things, you can do new
Hmm.
things, and I love it. What's the worst that could happen? We think that everything that may not go as we had planned, is the end of the world. And it's not. It just opens up another door for us to try something different and try something new.
Yeah.
So I have thoroughly enjoyed it. We have some comments here that says, love the interview. Great show this evening. That's because of you, Samantha, and what
Yes.
you
Oh,
brought
thank you.
to us
Definitely.
tonight. And it was just a pleasure to get the book, to be able to read some of the things that you put in the book, and now to be able to share it with a whole bunch of other people,
Yes.
folks and folks in Freeport. And we just appreciate you and what you're doing and sharing your life with
Yes.
us, because it's pretty amazing. What you do
Yes.
is pretty amazing. You say you're quiet, but I think you're a quiet storm over this. You got a
I
lot
think
that
so
you can
too.
teach us, tell us, and I think that's absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for being a part of Authors Up this evening. So glad to have you. So glad to have you.
Thank you for letting me even speak with you all. It's very kind of you. Yes, I
Uh,
appreciate it.
Of
Well,
course.
we
We
appreciate
enjoyed
you
it.
too, and
Thank
I know our
you.
listeners do. And for anybody who was not able to be on the show this evening, who has a friend that would be interested in this, Samantha has been kind enough to give us all of her information. But we will also re-air this program on Saturday at 7 p.m. So get a friend, tell somebody about it, share it, tell them to come back so they can listen and learn more about all of the things that Samantha has shared with us tonight. Ruth, do you have any final comments before we close out?
I just want to say thank you again, Samantha. We enjoyed having you on the show, and for all our viewers and for listeners, if you are interested in possibly being on our show, if you have any comments, any questions, you can email us at authorsup@gmail.com. We are also follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, Authors Up Show. You can download our podcast as well.
Mhm. And Queen Victoria, did you have any closing comments?
As always, thank you to Samantha, and then that's it. Get the book.
Well, that's it for us for tonight, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for letting some other people know about Authors Up and the good news that we've got going on here on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. You have an opportunity. Please come back, visit with us again. We always have something good for you on a Sunday evening, and we love to share. So we'll be right back here next week at 7 p.m. I would tell you who our guest is and what we're going to be talking about. I don't know. Surprise!
Right?
So you'll be surprised next week when you come, but come on back and enjoy it with us. We would
Yes.
love to have you. And that's it for us for tonight. So never know what's going to happen on Authors Up. Have a blessed week, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody. Good
night.
night, Bronze Girls.
Good
Mwah.
night. Good night. Thanks again, Samantha.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.